It's Warhammer Wednesday. Last time I talked about this show, Pariah Nexus, was part 1, and it was about a month ago, month and a half, I don't know, and I'm not going to look it up. But I skipped part 2 because I just didn't see much of a reason to talk about it, as it essentially just showed what we all knew from the beginning. Salamanders are badasses. I also showed a lot of scenes from episode 2 on my last Warhammer Wednesday video, talking about Space Marines. Now, if you watched the episode or watched the Chapter Master's video, you know how the episode goes. A lot of heart-stopping moments. Only 2 real action scenes, but as short as they are, you feel the grimdark of Warhammer franchises in them. And the ending. Oh my god, my blackened heart. Damn it, it hurts to talk about, but it hurts more to think about. God damn, son. All of my theories were either left unanswered in the Pariah Nexus show, except one, which I was right about, or was absolutely wrong 7 ways to Sunday. Let's talk about the show a little bit. Talk about what I was right about and what I was wrong about. Now, looking over the whole wiki and looking over the show, there's no confirmation of when this thing takes place. It might still be during the Pariah Crusade, and it would also be possible looking at the Salamander, given it seems he's wearing Mark 10 power armor. Looks like the Tacticus armor specifically, given his speed and power. His helmet does show he is a Primaris, as the firstborn helmets have the open mouth area, which I like to call the roaring mask, which is honestly one of my favorite ones, just because I can put little marks around the maw region, and it just looks cooler and more intimidating. But that's not what we should be talking about. We shouldn't be talking about helmets, though I could go into a whole video about helmets alone. 9 powered armors, I'm just saying. But yeah, the Salamander's wearing the Mark 10 powered armor. This show, it starts out with the end of episode 2, where the Salamander and the sister battle, which I will probably be giving each of them nicknames throughout it, are arguing with one another. The battle bitch wants to shoot down all of the citizens because they're citizens and not fighters, and they didn't fight in this conflict. Needless to say, the battle bitch is an absolute psychopath and is wrong in this situation, because citizens really shouldn't be forced to fight. They should fight voluntarily. Hell, everything anyone does should be voluntarily, but that's just me talking a little bit about my own beliefs. Now, at some point, the sister decides she wants to try and kill a priest for not knowing how to fight. She's away from the badass. I can't recall his name. I want to say it's like Sakan. She starts yelling at who's essentially her boss, a priest of the cult, Imperial cult. Like, the entire sisterhood, the entire Adepta Sororitas is cult members who follow the priests and follow the Imperium without question. But she starts yelling at this guy, and she starts hearing the Imperial Guard, which we get to learn a lot about. Like, some heavy shit, really. Like, I really wish my recording had audio, because boy howdy, does it add to it. During these scenes, we get some flashbacks from the perspective of our sister, who is leading a small military force with a couple of other sisters, but mostly Imperial guards, fighting against Necrons, laser blasting them with their angry flashlights. We see this absolute unit start charging in, and we watch as our own Imperial Guard, who's been a heretic this entire time, get gutted open. The sister begins talking about the situation, to the Imperial Guard, while the priest is lying on the ground with a gun to his head, freaking out because he doesn't know what the hell she's talking about, or who she's talking to. The sister has PTSD, and this actually goes about it in a much more... Okay, so I used to take care of this guy with PTSD from the Vietnam War, a Israeli man. Yeah, after World War II, born in that situation. This show actually shows something that is very rare, but still possible for those with PTSD. And it goes about it in a much better way than Senua's Sacrifice did. I will die on that hill. You did not know that video game was about PTSD unless you bought the special edition and watched the fucking documentary that came with the video game. I'm just saying. Now, with the battle bitch having her flashback of her unit's final moments, and her being the only survival, the Imperial side of the army is mostly Imperial Guard, wearing your standard militarum colors. Of course, like I said, we see that a big-ass dude, a Skorpek destroyer, charges the battle line and impales the guard. Of course, it's been shooting down other ones left, right, and center as well, leading to them being disintegrated because the Skorpek's flare rifle, flare knife, whatever it's called, it rips things apart by atom, and then rips apart the atoms too. Now, eventually, with that scene being remembered, the flashback scene being remembered, the battle bitch realizes her own hallucination, and the priest is as confused as a public school kid in a parade without nudity. YouTube is gonna hide this video for that joke alone. Sister fires her bolt gun at this point. Hey, remember that Skorpek we saw in the flashback? Well, guess who's back? Why is he back? Yeah, why didn't he have backup? I really don't know. This is more of a intensity scene. He's woken up by the sound of the bolt gun, which makes me wonder why didn't he wake up earlier. But yeah, Dragon Warrior goes in with the Robo Bro, but the Robo slices his arm off. The Salamander is now missing a heart, missing a lung, and missing an arm, according to what he said in the second episode. This whole fight is just... I've been playing clips here, and enough about all that. In all honesty, at this point, it's mostly fighting, and it's close to the end. But we're gonna have to flash back to the beginning of the episode to talk about the part where I was right. Yeah! So, as the Death Mark is sniping at our Salamander, the citizens, and the Sister of Battle, we go to his perspective of it. In fact, we go to his perspective with a lot of this episode, and I actually like that. The Death Mark is fighting off, or shooting at them from a sniper point, and his boss, Illuminor Zerus, starts talking to him, saying, hey, why haven't you killed any survivors yet? Why are you so fucking worthless? The Death Mark is saying, look, they're big, I'm trying to shoot them, it's a little more complicated than I thought it'd be. At which point we then see some of the zombies come in, and the Illuminor looks at them and says, oh, hey, yeah, my experiments. I don't give a shit, go ahead and slaughter them. That, right there, I said these zombies were his experiments. Someone in my comments of that video said they were not. They were part of the Death Mark's gun system. I was right. And that's it. That's the only thing I was right about. I'm gonna be completely honest. Everything else I was completely wrong about. Or it just wasn't talked about. Now, the Death Mark ends up getting busted by these things, and he can't seem to use his teleportation all that well, which I could go into the mechanics of the game and talk about that, but I'm already a good bit into this video. It's going to be a long one. Now, if you haven't seen the episode or the Chapter Master's video on it, I recommend stopping here. Pop a like, check out the Conqueror Creations Kickstarter, and shove off. Still here? You sure? Okay, so the Salamander is hunting down the Deathmark, and the Deathmark calls up his boss. The boss then chastises him for, being a hunter who is hunted. Then we see Sakan jam his knife into the Deathmark and pull off his head, using the hologram to talk with Illuminor Xeris. Sakan basically says, I'm going to hunt you to the end, even if it kills me. At which point, Illuminor kind of laughs about it, but then it cuts to black and goes to an epilogue scene. We see Imperial guards walking around, talking about how they don't like that they have to kill their own, believing they're still alive, but psychologically broken. We then cut to a kid, the bald one, motoring and wandering through the forest as the Imperial Guard come up to him, realizing he's not just another zombie, he's a child, and they ask their superiors if they should put him down. The child recognizes their uniforms and says, "Oh, hey, am I safe now? Am I out of that hell?" Well, the superior officers say to do it, and then we cut to black as a lasgun is fired. That hit like a truck to me. Like, damn. I'm hoping that GW will expand on this, but if it is during the Pariah Nexus, or Pariah Crusade, which was the 9th edition event going on, we're not going to get any answers. But if this takes place during 10th edition, we might get a little bit more info in the codex, which I'm hoping to get tomorrow. No, I would have gotten yesterday. This video is coming out on Wednesday, so I would have gotten either Wednesday or Tuesday or today. Anywho, most likely, we're not going to hear anything about this going forward. I would love to see maybe another sequel series be about Sakan. I would love to see that, but it's not likely. Before I cut this off, though, I want to say that they did a zoom in on one of the Imperial Guard, and I'm colorblind, but were their eyes purple? Is this Akkadian Guard? Anyone? Well, whatever. I'm gonna go. I've got to prepare for a lot of things. Write another script for Monday. I want y'all to check out the Kickstarter for Saloon and, well, shove off.